the street. Get funniest looks from everyone.
The Monkeys.
Hey, we're the Monkeys. And people say we monkey around. But we're too busy.
I was never a big Monkeys fan as a child. I just don't remember too many hits by the Monkeys. I remember the Monkeys television program more than I remember the Monkeys songs. Anyway, enough of that. Hey, where's Drew Brees in La Jolla from his multi-million-dollar ranch? If you're ever in a Lowe's coming over the PA system, hey, it's Drew Brees, Lowe's associate. No, you're not an associate. I want to know where screwdrivers are. Which aisle? I love when you go to a Lowe's, Home Depot, any big box store, and you ask someone for help, and they end up looking down the aisle at the big signs. I can do that myself. You work here. I know there's lots of items, but those items fall into categories. And it just seems like, I don't know, a week, a month, a couple of months at the most, you would figure out where just about every single thing in the store is, at least by category. But then again, it's America, where some Generation Z kid was asked about government and money, and kid sounds educated and smart. It's like a $29 trillion deficit. How do you expect my generation to pay that off? All of that sounded good up to that point, and then it went downhill faster than you can believe. A $29 trillion deficit. How do you expect people in my generation to pay that off when we're not expecting to work? We don't expect to work. How do you pay the car note, the electricity bill, rent or mortgage, groceries? You know, living, not expecting to work. Wow. I don't know. That's sort of a catch-22. No worky, no payoff, $29 trillion deficit. Hey, it is a wide open Wednesday. Yeah, you, right? I love wide open Wednesday, where you're the show producer. Whatever you'd like to discuss. I like Wide Open Wednesday. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 504-766-9480. 504-766-9480 is the phone number. I'd like to hear from you. I'm prepared. I've got my show sheet chock full of information. Don't need Wide Open Wednesday. Don't need you being the show producer. But I like Wide Open Wednesday. I like you participating as the show producer, because there's clearly something the mainstream media, the extreme left or right media, radio, television, talk show hosts like me, that we're missing, that we're not covering enough, or maybe not covering at all, and it's important to you, of vital importance to you. The way you can get that out there is by producing the Neutral Ground program on a Wide Open Wednesday. Rouse's Markets phone lines to participate. Jason, a.k.a. the Ragin' Cajun, a.k.a. the Man in Black, fielding your phone calls via the Rouse's Markets phone lines. 766-9480. 766-9480. I do have some $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates. A week ago, last Tuesday, 8 days ago, the Woodhouse Day Spa Mandeville location opened up. That's Cheyenne country. They're on the East Causeway approach, directly across the street from the Mandeville City Hall, about 2 minutes off the causeway. Or for you North Shore folks, 2 minutes from the foot of the causeway. Yeah, Woodhouse Day Spa, Mandeville location. The Woodhouse Day Spa, the city's premier day spa experience. Now with 5 area locations. 2 on the South Shore, 2 on the North Shore, Baton Rouge by the Mall of Louisiana. Like I said, it is the city's premier day spa experience. Guys, get her a gift card. Get her a day of relaxation at the Woodhouse Day Spa. An unexpected gift from you to her is a grand slam home run. or it's good get out of the doghouse material as well. Yeah, I've got some $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates. We had a slew of questions last week because of Tuesday's Mandeville opening. About half of them were answered. About half of them are still out there. I'm going to answer these last week questions by the end of today's show. So if you know the answer, holla. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480. The United States' costliest man-made disaster. A lot of these questions are locally based. New Orleans, Louisiana, the region. And then, maybe I'm trying to throw you off with that. And it's one of our maybe 1 out of 10 questions that might be nationally based. We did get the U.S.'s costliest natural disaster, Hurricane Katrina. Some say as much as $187 billion. What is the United States, or what was the United States' costliest man-made disaster? Not natural, but man-made disaster. Guesstimations have it around $65 billion. You got the answer to that? I got $50, 50 big bucks. You can do something with that. Good at any of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. The Treaty of Paris, what did that accomplish? What was that all about? What did the Treaty of Paris do? New Orleans involved in that. It's from 1763. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480. In 1937, this New Orleans recipe became what item? Which item? It's a tasty treat. Some say a breakfast item, but they're open all day. They sometimes have long drive-through lines. It's now a North Carolina-based company with a red and green colored logo. Hey, who was the Tennessee native, former governor of Florida, a presidential candidate, and a New Orleans hero? A New Orleans hero, so much so we have a statue of him. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480. 766-9480. Hey, how did New Orleans get its name? A couple of Batman actors were king of Bacchus. We got Michael Keaton. Who's the other Batman actor that was king of Bacchus? The meaning of the word gumbo. And yummy and tastes good is not the meaning, although that's true. Good gumbo, at least. The meaning of the word gumbo. And speaking of food, what's the cooking trinity? The cooking trinity. If you have answers to any of those questions, I've got 50 big bucks for you, good at one of the area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. Phone number to participate, Rouse's Markets phone lines, 504-766-9480. 766-9480. Junket Cantrell's going to write a book. Is it a coloring book? The ugly Ray Brandt succession fight has been settled. Joe Raspanti's going to join us about that. The recall coming up in a few minutes. Helena Moreno wants an update on the NOPD's task force. I'll fill you in on that in a few minutes. But right now we're heading to the Rouse's Markets phone lines. 766-9480. It is a wide open Wednesday where you're the show producer. Victor joins us in New Orleans. Is Victor going to be victorious? What's happening, Victor?
Hey, Corey, how you doing? I sure hope I am going to be victorious.
What did you think about the recall effort?
I felt that it was going to be difficult to do, and I was not surprised with the results.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's pretty accurate. You remember the shoo-shoo firework? Like you'd light the firecracker and it wouldn't go off, so you'd break it in half and light it and it would fizzle around?
Yes.
I think the recall was a big shoo-shoo. It wasn't a light fuse getaway. It was a dud.
Yeah, I just hope it lights a fire under the administration and they just do what they need to do.
Hope's the key word, but I think there's about as much hope as there is in the recall being effective with that, Victor.
Yeah, it is. But we gonna keep the hope, though. We gonna keep the hope, and we're gonna keep the faith, because this is our home and this is our city.
No, fair enough. I'm with you on that, brother. 110%. You're right. But I think the mayor will just double down. She seems more belligerent than let me learn a lesson from it.
Well, let's just say we're going to give her the benefit of the doubt.
I hear you.
She learns a lesson, because we will benefit from it.
I hope your hope is right. I hope your hope is right. What else you got for us, Victor?
I hope that my answer, man-made disaster, would be the terrorist attack in 1991.
God, what a great answer. What a great answer. Victor, hang on. I'm going to tighten you up with a $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate because I like the answer, but incorrect. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here, and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring, and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, no cool side. NOLAAC.com, no cool side.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Super discount store in Chalmette.
3235 Paris Road.
The lowest price allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and beer.
Worth the drive from anywhere.
If you're throwing a party and need wine, alcohol, and cold beer, super discount store in Chalmette.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson with you on the radio, on television, live streaming via our website, CareTalks.com. We're on YouTube right now, our fledgling YouTube channel. Click to subscribe. Send the link to a friend or family member. Corey Johnson Neutral Ground on YouTube live right now. Let's head right back to the phone lines. Joe Raspanti is going to join us in a minute. But first, we head to Metri via the Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480 on this wide open Wednesday. Yeah, Metri, a.k.a. New Orleans West, home of traffic, lots and lots of traffic. He or she goes by the letter A. Yes, joins us.
It is a she.
Oh, a C.
It is a she female.
Hey, AC, how are you?
Hi, I wanted to give you the answer to the Trinity.
What does AC stand for, if you don't mind me asking?
No, it's A, and I'm a female.
Oh, it's A, no C, just A, and you're a female. Hey, A, what does the A stand for?
All right, Anitria.
Oh, what a great name, Anitria.
Yeah.
That's an awesome name. Now, who came up with that? Was it your mom's name, a grandmother, a relative? Anitria.
No, my mom made my name up.
That's a made-up name?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound made up.
Yeah, it was made up in 1960.
Anitria. You were born in 1960, Anitria?
Yeah.
Boy, your voice doesn't sound that.
Why, thank you.
Yeah, 62? 63? Yep. Wow.
Yep.
All right, Anitria. What, you have an answer to one of our many trivia questions?
Yeah, the Trinity is bell pepper, onion, and celery, or celery, onion, and bell pepper, or however you want to put it. Whichever one comes first, that's the Trinity.
And what do you do with that? That's like how you start up cooking something?
That's how you start up a roux.
Pretty much. You're right. A roux or just about anything in South Louisiana. What a good base for cooking, huh?
Yes. Yes, definitely.
I mean, onions are fantastic. Bell peppers have a lot of flavor. The celery kind of smooths things out a little bit. Put a little salt, black pepper, and cayenne in there with it. Maybe some onion garlic powder. You're set, huh?
You got a gumbo.
I'm telling you, you can go pretty much anywhere with that. Hey, Anitria in Metri, you are correct.
Yeah, you're right. Ding, ding, ding.
You.
What do we have for her, Johnny?
Anitria, do you live in Metairie?
Yes, I do.
All right. Well, that Woodhouse Day Spa in Metairie is located on Transcontinental and West Esplanade near North Kenner. Or there's the Mid-City location, Canal Street at Carrollton. Those are probably the closest to you.
Could you do me a favor? I'd like to pay it forward.
What do you want to do with that gift card?
Give it to the next person that answers the question incorrect, or however you want to do it, the next caller.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do that anyway for you for being so sweet, but we're going to get some info from you, and we're going to send it to you, and you can give it forward to whoever you like or use it yourself. How's that sound?
That sounds great. Thank you, Corey.
Thanks, Anitria. Great name. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. Jason's going to get some info from you. And yes, whoever's right or wrong, because of Anitria being so kind, I'm going to give somebody a $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate and still tighten up Anitria in Metairie with one. Joe Raspanti, I'd say he's not eligible, but he joins us so many times on the program. Joe, after our segment's over, maybe you're going to have to give Jason your home address so we can mail you one and you can give it to your wife.
Yeah, I think I need to go in for an estimate with this body, Corey, but that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, you and me both. Wouldn't you like a nice hour-and-a-half massage from the Woodhouse? I'm overdue for one of those.
That sounds good. Don't talk dirty to me. Sounds good. I like it.
I hear you. Now, we're going to get some info from you, Joe, at the end of our segment or two. And I'm going to tighten you up with one because you're so nice to join me all the time. You're almost like Rafael Goyeneche. You're like a co-host on the program practically.
Oh, man. He and I were DAs together back when dinosaurs roamed the earth. Yep,
Wow.
Rafi.
Wow. Didn't know that. That's incredible. Yeah, and you join me so often, and we don't compensate you like Fox 8 does. I know you're there, Tuesday morning, 7:45?
Yeah, they double my salary every week. They double my salary.
Now you got to like that. That's what you're looking for. Yeah, you can check Joe Raspanti out. Fox 8, 7:45 a.m., just about every Tuesday morning with some legal segment.
That's correct.
Hey, Joe, that recall I was mentioning to a previous caller, it was like one of those shoo-shoo firecrackers, firecracker, you light fuse, get away. The ones that didn't work, you would crack them in half and just light the gunpowder and it would sort of spark and fizzle around. That's what this recall, huh?
What happened. I got my little grandson with me, Kane Raspanti, the baddest kindergartner at St. Catherine of Siena, and he wanted to say hi to you guys. But yeah, it was a foo-foo, but when I saw Noonie Man dancing in front of City Hall, I got worried, Yeah. It wasn't a dancing occasion. But
now, were you worried because he was dancing, or were you worried because of the dance, the straight-faced look in the dance? He scared me a little bit. I was like, oh, boy.
Well, I don't know, right horse, wrong jockey, maybe. I did a little math on it, and I think the first tranche of signatures, they had about an 80% okie dokie rate, and then the next one, of course, less than a 1%. If the second batch would have also been 80% correct, they would have passed up either one of those thresholds. So it really, it's sad because you can see the will of the people. Even though it was a high bar, they would have crossed it, but for whatever it was that made it go bad. So it's kind of it's a sad situation, and the mayor shouldn't be doing her end zone dance today, but I think it looked like she is. So.
Yep. And a caller said hopefully she learns a lesson from this. I just don't see that, Joe. I think she just doubles down on the belligerent attitude.
I don't think so. Yeah, she was born with a hand on her hip, if you know what I'm talking about.
No, totally. You're right.
So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. She's got enough things to worry about that she could work 24 hours a day to try to get this city straight.
Yeah, but she's worrying about, spinning the globe and putting her finger down on some European, Asian, Middle Eastern country for her next junket, I'm afraid.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I don't think they're going to be able to redo that again. I think what she needs to be looking more carefully at maybe is Camp and Poydras, because that may be where her next issues may come from. But I don't know that, and I could be totally wrong with that.
No, but we know that the feds are investigating her specifically, and it's on multiple fronts. And you've mentioned this before. When you crack the door open on one or two things, oftentimes other things emerge during your investigation.
Yeah, I just think that there's, this. She's not Edwin Edwards. Let's put it that way. We all kind of knew Edwin Edwards maybe was doing certain things or felt it, but we knew he was probably too slick to get caught. I don't think she falls into that category.
Yep.
But who knows? I don't want to besmirch her. I wish her Godspeed in doing the city's work.
Hey, now what's your kindergarten nephew's name again?
Grandson, Kane.
I think Kane, and I'm dead serious about this, if we gave Kane choices and he's in kindergarten, I think he would do a better job as mayor than LaToya Cantrell, because she just doesn't seem to be doing too much that is about the city, Joe, and more interested in herself. It seems like it's just a big ego power trip, and coupled with, man, my 15 minutes of fame are up in a few years, or if there's a possible indictment. I honestly think Kane could do a better job, and I'm not exaggerating or kidding.
Well, I'll get you 2 tickets to the inauguration.
All right.
So.
I think he'd be a better mayor. 6-year-old Kane.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I'd really be interested to see what it was exactly that made all of the 99% of those signatures go out the window. It's just, I think the people that sign it have to feel let down in some ways, and feel like their voice is not being heard. I don't know. In certain things, the courts will look at things and say what the intent was, and it's not reversible errors, or to use a legal term. I don't know that that's going to be the case, but I'll be interested to see what the issue was and what the issues are going to be raised to try to overcome it.
Well, when it's 99%, Joe, I think it's got to be something simple and basic. And one thing I remember reading was the first batch, you just needed the year of your birth. And on the second batch, you needed the actual date, the month, date, and year of your birth. So I think it's something simple like that.
I agree with you.
For 99% of them to be thrown out, like they just, oh gosh, they didn't do the month, year, and date, and then they're just looking for that on everyone, and they're not even looking at anything else, and they just threw out 99% very quickly because they missed that obvious thing. And that's just, no offense to Eileen Carter and Belden Batiste, or offense to Eileen Carter and Belden Batiste. You missed something basic. You got 67,000 signatures, and nearly 40,000 of the 67 were invalid. That's a major screw up.
Yeah, and it's a shame. I mean, their heart was in the right place,
Yep.
They certainly worked hard.
Yep.
And a lot of people did. And I think, objectively, the message was pretty clear.
Yep.
And I promise you, if there was going to be an election.
Joe, hold that thought real quick. If there was going to be an election, I got to knock out this quick break. Coming right back, more with Joe Raspanti.
Hey guys, it's Frank Smith from LasVegasGambling.com with your weekend 5-star lock of the week. Lock of the week. Lock of the week. Take the Lakers and the points over the Clippers. Sell the house, sell the boat, sell your children. Send grandma away and take the money. Put everything you've got on this 5-star selection. It's the Lakers over the Clippers. And we've also got a fantastic 5-star parlay as well. Call us now, 888-555-7777. It's Frank Smith, a.k.a. The Hammer, from LasVegasGambling.com. Do it now.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
For over 20 years, serving healthy, fresh, authentic Middle Eastern cuisine, Lebanon's Cafe, in the Carrollton section of Uptown on the streetcar line, Wednesday through Monday, 11 a.m. to 9:30. Lebanon's Cafe.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore led us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Kanye West was seen shopping at Super Discount Store in Chalmette.
I am Shakespeare in the flesh. Walt Disney, Nike, Google.
Okay, I think Kanye was talking about something else entirely. Super Discount Store on Paris Road in Chalmette.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Hey, in 25 short minutes, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets opens its doors for dinner tonight. They'll go from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m. Some of the city's best Sicilian and Italian can be found at Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets. They open up for dinner tonight at 5. With this weather, outdoor dining, indoor dining, to-go orders, sit at the bar and watch sports action. Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets tonight for dinner. Yummy. New Orleans attorney Joe Raspanti is with us again on the program. Hey, Joe, Channel 6 had some pseudo-breaking news. Tomorrow, Sandra Wilson, Dr. Sandra Wilson, the registrar of voters here in New Orleans, will hold a press conference and let us know why nearly 40,000 signature sheets were disqualified.
Well, good for her. She does have some answers to do.
Yep.
I think that is interesting, but I think the first thing, if I'm one of those reporters, I'm going to say that's great, Miss Wilson, but why were the rules so not updated? Why were they so we had the dead people on it, you had the people that moved out of state on it, all those issues. Why haven't you been keeping up with that? What do you do every day when you come into work? What is your job?
No, hopefully the media will hold her accountable on all of those things. Yeah, that's a great point. It's not just about those signatures, the process, all of that. It's exactly what you're talking about. Why weren't the voter rolls up to date where these recall folks had to, seek the correct numbers? I mean, it's all based off of the real numbers. No, you're right on the money, Joe.
I mean, it's shameful. I mean, it's like I'm an airline pilot, but I don't know how to land or take off.
No, exactly. No, you're so right. You're so right. Hey, do you think the organizers of the recall or citizens are going to be able to view the sheets that were turned down? If Frank Smith signed the recall, he wants to know if his sheet was valid or not. Wouldn't you think so? That
Absolutely. I would think that there would be, I mean, if there's somebody who wants to see it, it's a public record, as we've come to learn.
Yep.
Remember, there was a Freedom of Information Act, and there was a stink about that the Times-Picayune wanted to look at the names. So believe me, we've come to learn, a public record. So yes, I think anybody certainly can at least look at their own signature and see what made it valid or invalid.
It shouldn't be protected where we don't get to see it, right?
Should not be, but transparency hasn't been the hallmark of Ms. Wilson's office so far. So let's see if that changes going forward. We'll see.
That press conference tomorrow should be interesting. Hopefully they ask the correct questions. Shifting gears in another direction. I mean, well, one part of me is like, okay, this isn't any of my business, but kind of a pseudo public figure. A lot of people know his name, and this estate isn't small. It's valued at about $300 million. This ugly Ray Brandt succession fight seems to finally be settled, Joe. 3 years they've been fighting this fight. It's a $300 million estate. Jessica Brandt is Ray Brandt's wife, was Ray Brandt's wife, his widow. Her 2 grandchildren, Ray Brandt adopted them as his own. One's 23 years old, Alexis. Zachary, the older brother's 20-something, the Hartlines. Jessica Brandt's grandchildren that Ray Brandt adopted. 14 car dealerships, 5 collision centers. This is just insane. Mark Milano is the principal at Rummel, a high school principal. He's the executor, I guess, of the estate, the trustee. It's no longer Jessica Brandt. He gets to oversee the $300 million estate. And the Hartlines, these 2 kids, basically get the estate. And Jessica Brandt gets some money, like monthly, money, yearly, annual money for the rest of her life. I don't know about you, but it seems real simple that Jessica Brandt should be getting the estate, and the Hartlines get it. These kids get it when Jessica Brandt passes, and they get a little bit of money each month or annually. It's mind-blowing to me that it's worked the opposite way. Can you help us out on how the adopted grandchildren pretty much get everything, and it's Jessica Brandt who gets a monthly payment instead of the other way around?
And I'm speaking blindly here because I did not see it. I know all the lawyers involved, and I know that this was a very contentious thing. Generally speaking, and there's a thing called usufruct whereby the kids have naked ownership, and I'm not going to go down that road. But the bottom line is this: with wills and estates, and I will speak just from my own experience, people that try to get older people that are infirmed to write a will right here at the end, to change everything, which you clearly, when you had all your faculties, wanted something to go a certain way, and then you come back and at the very end, this person goes around and gets you, but put me down as the heir for all of your money. It's very distasteful. Judges should be on the lookout for that, but what sometimes ties their hands is in the laws of wills and estates, the best way to put it, a will, because you're not there, that person who wrote it, they ain't there to change it. You're not there to ask any questions.
Yep.
So there's some very specific rules when it comes to wills. That's why people shouldn't write their own will without a real live lawyer, not just a notary or just themselves writing it, because there's a lot of very specific rules that if you don't do it, it throws the whole thing out of whack, and you either go back to, the civil code. Basically, the civil code says whatever it says as to who is supposed to get based upon the code articles. So, what you were thinking in your head sounds like what the civil code says.
Yeah, isn't that forced heirship in Louisiana? Like, honestly, it is you. It's you
no more.
Changing your will from your wife getting your assets and Kane getting them instead. That you can do that.
He's a minor, but if I wanted to, not using him as the example, if I wanted to write a will and leave my wife out of it totally, I could leave everything to you, Corey, because there is no more forced heirship except in particular circumstances whereby if you have a child that has a mental infirmity or things like that. But,
wow. I thought your wife automatically got it in Louisiana.
If you die without a will, she gets the usufruct and your children, But anyway, things have changed. There's not forced heirship as much anymore in Louisiana, and we were one of the last states to have it. But there, and you can't say, like you were saying, what's the equity and what should it be? Because when you get in this area of wills, that's why sometimes judges' hands are tied. I think that they ought to be able to use common sense and say, when this person had all their faculties, had all their senses.
Yep.
They obviously clearly wanted to do this. And that should kind of hold sway.
No, I just think Ray Brandt's rolling over in his grave right now. It seems like you'd have to have something even more than the will, like almost an addendum with the will saying, Jessica upset me, or I don't trust her anymore, and I want the grandkids to get it.
No, it doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. But this is, you got to cut the pie up. That's a $300 million pie. There's a lot of apples and crust to go around with that thing, I'll tell you. So maybe that's why everybody finally said, look, let's come to an agreement, because both of them had the risk of a big loss. So maybe that's how compromises happen with some of these things.
I don't know Mark Milano, the principal at Rummel. That just seems like an insane choice as the trustee. Does he profit off of this?
Depends on what the language is. I don't think he would. He may be able to get for lack of a better term, a salary for doing things like that. But at the end of the day, I don't think he's allowed to inherit anything.
And then Todd Dempsey. No, go ahead.
What's that? No. The interesting thing, that's even more interesting in this case, is he put in his will, which I think really should raise antenna, is if you challenge this will, everybody gets what I say, but if you want to challenge it and you lose in a court of law, you get zero. Kind of a poison pill to stop, because people don't want their kids and their heirs fighting about stuff, and that's a very good thing. So she kind of tried to get around it by having another person challenge the will on other grounds.
Yeah, it was Todd Dempster, the COO of Ray Brandt Auto Group, and she financed that.
Right. So that was an interesting turn of events, but I think it should be paid attention to that. And I bet most people sit down and write a will. The last thing they want is for the people that they're naming in the will to fight about it. And that's why they have this little thing in the law that you can put in your will. Everybody, I can't take your right to challenge, to go to a court of law and challenge. But if you do and you lose, you get zero.
And that's Mark Milano, the Rummel principal, can put that into the...
No. That's not in... It's not his money. It's what Ray Brandt put into. Brandt put that.
Gotcha. Just an ugly situation, it just seems like from afar, at least these 20-something-year-old Heartline kids, the grandkids it's like you're already getting a big chunk of money, go to work for a little while. And when grandma dies, you get it all. It's just mind blowing to me.
I don't even think she's got to die, but I think when
they're 30. No, you're right. When the 23-year-old in 7 years, they'd get it all. In 7 years. You're right, Joe. Wow. Hey, Joe, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Please hang on a second so Jason can get some info from you and we can get your wife a gift card.
No, but I appreciate it, Corey. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate everything you do. That's Joe Raspanti, New Orleans attorney. Coming right back.
Rouse's Markets means convenience. Every one of our 65 locations opens at 7 a.m., some at 6:30, and they're open until 10 p.m., with some staying open till 11 or even midnight. Convenience. Rouse's Markets. Tastes like home. If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan.
Have a painting project but can't decide on the perfect color? At Helm Paint and Decorating, we offer half-pint paint samples in any Benjamin Moore color for under $5, so you can test potential paint colors before investing in a full gallon.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here, and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal: everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good, and we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. New Orleans attorney Joe Raspanti joining us. Talk a little bit about the recall failure. Tomorrow, the registrar of voters will, who is, by the way, that's Dr. Sandra Wilson. She'll have a press conference tomorrow and let us know why nearly 40,000 signature sheets were thrown out. It's got to be just something basic and simple. It was pretty much 99% of the second batch of signatures. 99% thrown out. I think the first batch had around 15, 18% thrown out, which is sort of the national average on recalls. But the second batch had 99%, which tells me something basic and simple was missed. A dotting of the I's, a crossing of the T's, not signatures, didn't match, didn't have the ward or precinct number down. My biggest guess would be, from what I understood, the first batch, all you needed was your birth year on the first batch. The second batch, it required the month, birthday, date, and year. So month, day, and year for the second batch, only the year of your birth for the first batch. I think it had to be something glaring, obvious, and that would be my guess. But we'll see tomorrow, hopefully, when Dr. Sandra Wilson, Registrar of Voters, will hold a press conference and answer some questions. Hey, speaking of answering some questions, in the 5 o'clock powwow, I'm going to answer some holdover trivia questions from last week. Last Tuesday, the Woodhouse Day Spa opened their Mandeville location. I threw out some questions. About half of them were answered. There are 4 that have not been answered. And I will answer those in the next hour, unless you answer them the rest of this hour or next hour. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480, 766-9480. If you have answers to any of these questions, I got 50 big bucks for you at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. What was the United States' costliest man-made disaster? What did the Treaty of Paris accomplish? In 1937, this New Orleans recipe became which item? Which sugary treat? Some say just for breakfast, but breakfast, lunch, anytime. They're open late. They have drive-through service. Sometimes the line is very long. It's a North Carolina company with a red and green colored logo. He was a Tennessee native, a former governor of Florida, a presidential candidate, and a New Orleans hero. Such a New Orleans hero, we erected a statue of this guy. Those questions will be answered in the next hour, unless you can answer them right now. Hey, by the way, no search engines, no intranet device, no Google, Yahoo, DuckDuckGo, Bing, none of that. Some questions from this week. How did New Orleans get its name? The city of New Orleans, how did it get its name? A couple of Batman actors have also been King of Bacchus. One was Michael Keaton. That was answered earlier this week. Who was the other Batman actor who was King of Bacchus? What's the meaning of the word gumbo? What's the meaning of the word gumbo? And we got an answer by A in Metri. The cooking trinity. Onions, bell peppers, celery. That's a good way to start anything, what you're cooking. Onions, bell pepper, and celery. Cook that down. Put a little salt, black pepper, cayenne. Kaboom goes the dynamite. You've got something pretty good getting started right there. Hey, speaking of pretty good, you got to paint your house. You have any painting project. Folks that know, go to Helm Paint and Decorating. They've been at it over 50 years in New Orleans. East Bank, West Bank, North Shore, 7 convenient Helm Paint and Decorating locations for you. Plus, they have free 2-hour delivery anywhere in Metro New Orleans. You can go online, pick your Benjamin Moore colors, get your supplies. They'll bring them to you, no charge. Helm Paint and Decorating, when you got to paint in Metro New Orleans, do it once, do it right. Like me painting my house with a lifetime paint from Benjamin Moore. I'll never have to paint my house again. Yeah, I went to Helm Paint and Decorating. As a New Orleanian, where else would I go? Helm Paint and Decorating goes in the no-brainer category. It is a wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Junket Cantrell, due for an international taxpayer finance junket, huh? A trip is coming up. I think she will be out of the country definitely within the next few weeks. I would be shocked if before April ends in the next 5 weeks that the mayor hasn't taken an international junket. Europe, the Middle East, Asia. I think it's just happening. That's how she operates. It's so obvious to see. She says a weight was lifted off of her shoulders with the recall behind her. Oh, boy, a coloring book or one of those, I don't know, dot things you do. You connect the dots. The mayor says she's writing a book. People with warped egos, seriously. I'm going to write a book because so many people are going to love the story and want to buy it and read it. Just delusional. It's like Ray Nagin and his book. A coloring book for kids, maybe. She says there's an intentional effort to discredit her work as mayor, and she expects that to continue. She's smart about that. I would agree with her on that. Yeah, the ugly Ray Brandt secession fight. We talked with Joe Raspanti about that. I just think these Heartline kids are painfully greedy and knocking grandma out, their own grandmother. It's just Mind-blowing. The whole thing's ugly. The principal at Rummel is the trustee. Yeah, Blue Boy, it's crazy. New Orleans Council VP Helena Moreno seeks an update on the NOPD task force. I'll fill you in on that and a whole lot more. The 5 o'clock power hour is next. Don't go anywhere, New Orleans. We're coming right back.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers Breitling time, 5 p.m.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOAC.com, your cool spot.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Here's New Orleans native son, Corey Johnson.
New Orleans City Councilman Freddie King joins us.
So I want to first say thanks for having me. And believe it or not, man, I used to listen to your show all the time driving home. So it's an honor to be on.
Freddie, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you on the program. Thanks.
The official afternoon talk show of the city of New Orleans. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard.
being a part of people's lives from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Oh boy, Miami Vice. This tune, I think it was Jan Hammer. I'm trying to think who this was that came up with this tune. You want to do a little research on this? It might be Jan Hammer. More worthless information. The Miami Vice tune. It was almost as good as Hawaii Five-0 in the 70s. It was Jan Hammer. Yikes. Spelled Ian. Spelled Ian, Jan. Jan. That's terrible. That goes in the Donnie Most as Ralph Malph in Happy Days category. At least this guy's like a talent, you know, but to know Jan Hammer did the Miami Vice song, I could have that taken out of my brain, Jason, and replaced with like some physics or something, and I think I'd be better off. He was a fancy jazz fusion musician. I'm trying to think what his big hit was. He had a bigger hit than Miami Vice. What was it? Well, boy. You know what I saw on social media the other day? Reminding me of my childhood. Chuck Manzioni or whatever, hugging the trumpet or timpani, whatever he was hugging. Feels so good. No, Crockett's theme, I was thinking Miami Vice. I'm trying to think what it was. It was jazz fusion, like modern jazz fusionish sounding. It was pre-Miami Vice. It's why Miami Vice hired him. Damn. It was a popular song. It might have even made like, you know, Casey Kasem's Top 10. Have you ever heard those out cues from Casey Kasem, Jason? They're brilliant. Hey, let's go to Brenda in West Virginia. She writes, hey, you guys, y'all going to get this right this time? Play the damn song. 3, 2, 1. Hey, let's go to Brenda in West Virginia. She writes damn it, you guys, it's ridiculous. What are you doing back there? Just cursing, just belligerent. And then I love the countdown. He's like, 3, 2, 1. Brenda from West Virginia writes, Casey, could you SOBs are just a meltdown. It's brilliant. The outtakes of, we play some, but I think he curses a lot in them, Jason. Casey Kasem with his meltdown. I'm like Dick Clark. I do not age. And it was the pre-plastic surgery days, or at least effective plastic surgery days. So it must have been an absurd amount of hair dye and makeup. I don't age. And television wasn't in HD. That helped out a lot. You probably stood next to me in person. You're like, holy smokes. Who's that dead man walking? It's a letter from Brenda in West Virginia. She writes, Casey, could you worthless bastard. She's 3, 2, 1. Brenda in West Virginia. Corey Johnson with you, Wide Open Wednesday edition of the program. Yeah, you right. It is Wide Open Wednesday. That means you're the show producer. Whatever you'd like to discuss, 766-9480. That's how you dial us up and participate in the program. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 504-766-9480. 9480, the 5 o'clock powwow of this afternoon on a Wide Open Wednesday, brought to you by Friend and Company Fine Jewelers on Maple Street. On Maple Street, the Carrollton section of Uptown, near the River Bend. Maple Street in between Broadway and Carrollton. That's my neighborhood. I love that area. You got a lot of retail on Maple Street, like Friend and Company Fine Jewelers. You got retail in the River Bend area, like Brightson's Restaurant and a whole bunch of other stuff. You've got Oak Street, which is a great retail strip. You've got Willow, like where Lebanon's Cafe is, right a block away. It's a little town. It was the town of Carrollton. It's incredible. On Maple Street, I think it's Maple and maybe Adams or Cherokee maybe is the old governor's or the mayor's house where the mayor lived back in the olden days. And the old Ben Franklin High School was the city hall for the city of Carrollton. It's still like a little town. It's still like a little city. A great part of the city, my favorite New Orleans neighborhood. Kind of in between Broadway and the Parish Line, sort of in between Claiborne's and the river. I love the Carrollton Riverbend section of the city. River Road to Causeway and all the retail out on Vets. You can beeline down Magazine or Britannia or St. Charles Avenue or Ferret or Claiborne's and get to a lot of other stuff. Carrollton Avenue, going north. Head down Leonidas through the Pigeon Town neighborhood and Holly Grove to go north. Very convenient, very easy. And just a great neighborhood with so much retail and great restaurant. There are probably more great restaurants. I'm not kidding you. Better restaurants, high-end restaurants, middle to high-end restaurants in the Riverbend, Carrollton section of Uptown than all of Jefferson Parish. That's mind-blowing. It is a Wide Open Wednesday, the 5 o'clock powwow brought to you by Friend and Company Fine Jewelers. Ken Friend, he's been at it for over 40 years. His family, the Friend and Company Fine Jewelry store for over 50. Diamonds, they got you covered. It is your engagement ring headquarters for so many New Orleanians for generations. Diamond tennis bracelet, diamond necklaces, diamond stud earrings, all real diamonds at Friend and Company Fine Jewelers. Natural diamonds, 1 billion years old, diamonds that appreciate in value. You're getting her a lifetime purchase. Make it real diamonds from Friend and Company Fine Jewelers. Don't get fooled by these so-called diamond stores in and around New Orleans that are selling 3-week-old man-made diamonds, lab-created diamonds, many of them from China. The market's getting flooded with this junk that only goes down in value, They're not 1 billion years old. They're not limited in their quantity. Their quality is terrible. I'm talking about real diamonds, natural diamonds, 1 billion years old, not lab-created, man-made diamonds that are 3 weeks old. You want to sell out your old lady or trick her, the most important person in your life, the woman you supposedly love? Go to one of these so-called diamond stores. Save a few bucks and get the inferior garbage that depreciates in value. One day, maybe she'll find out, and you'll really feel good about yourself. Or you don't have to trick her. You can just treat her right, show her you love her, make a lifetime purchase, real diamonds, natural diamonds, 1 billion years old, Friend and Company Fine Jewelers. Ken Friend has a room, an entire room dedicated to diamonds, earrings, necklaces, bracelets, engagement rings, all under $1,000. You can spend hundreds of dollars and get a lifetime purchase, real diamonds. Friend and Company Fine Jewelers on Maple Street in between Broadway and Carrollton. 5 o'clock powwow this afternoon brought to you by Friend and Company Fine Jewelers. If you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed a lot. Joe Raspanti joined us. We discussed Junket Cantrell. I think she's due for an international trip in the next few weeks because that weight is lifted off of her shoulders, she says, from the recall effort. So she feels she's earned an international taxpayer finance trip. I'd like her to go on one trip where at least $1 of money for the city was created, at least one single job was created. And I'm not talking about a policeman already working that goes on her detail. Oh boy, a coloring book or something of that level is coming. The mayor today revealed that she's writing a book. And one of the chapters could be called Recall. My gosh, Mayor LaToya Cantrell, I'm so interested in her life and her journey to the mayor position in New Orleans. Just people with warped egos, man. Just, I don't know, you write a book, you've got to be humble enough to where you go, man, this is something compelling. This is something interesting. I think people would really want to read this. And not be in denial and not be delusional like Ray Nagin in his coloring book, which sold, I think, 19 copies. 19 copies. And Ray Nagin's probably got 100 copies in boxes at his house in Plano. She says an intentional effort to discredit her work as mayor, and she expects that to continue. She's right about that. I expect that to continue as well. The ugly Ray Brandt succession fight has finally been settled. Helena Moreno wants an NOPD task force update. I'll fill you in on that and more. Corey Johnson with you. 5 o'clock powwow with the neutral ground.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend and Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets. Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
It's got to be Sonny Landry from Lafayette, Cajun Country, one of the world's best guitarists. Don't take my word for it. Go to YouTube or wherever you get your music. Sonny Landreth. Pretty amazing. Eric Clapton said he's one of the best in the world. Eric Clapton's like he'll play the lead, and then in between the lead, the gaps, he'll fill them with like the rhythm part or, the second lead. It's like continuous guitar playing, 2 parts from one guy. Outdoor dining tonight with this weather, huh? Lebanon's Cafe under the green awning, under the oak trees on the streetcar line. You can't go wrong. They're open till 9:30. They're open right now. Enjoy this weather, enjoy the outdoors, and enjoy some of the best Middle Eastern food in the metro area. Lebanon's Cafe, Carrollton at Jeanette in the Carrollton section of Uptown. Yeah, you right. It is a wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Corey Johnson with you. Rouse's Markets phone lines are open, 766-9480, 766-9480. I've got some $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates to give away. These questions I'm going to answer before the hour is up. But if you've got an answer for any of them, I got 50 big bucks for you at the Woodhouse. 5 area locations. Mandeville opened just last week. The costliest United States man-made disaster. We had a good answer last hour. The 2001 terrorist attack. The 2001 terrorist attack. That's a hell of a good answer. It's got to be close to the costliest. So I tightened up that caller with the $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate. Hell of an answer. What was the costliest U.S. man-made disaster? What did the Treaty of Paris accomplish? From 1763, New Orleans was a big part of it, to say the least. He was a Tennessee native, a former governor of Florida, a presidential candidate, and a New Orleans hero, so much so that we erected a statue of him. There's a statue, and the area where the statue is named after him. Give me the answer to that. I got 50 big bucks for you. In the Garden District, there's a street named after him. That's how much he's a New Orleans hero. You got the answer to any of those 4 questions before I answer them in about 30 minutes? I got 50 big bucks for you at any of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. Got some questions from this week. How did New Orleans, the city of New Orleans, get its name? How did the city of New Orleans get its name? A couple of Batman actors were also King of Bacchus. Michael Keaton was one. Who was the other King of Bacchus that was a Batman actor? 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines to participate, 766-9480. What does the word gumbo mean? What does the word gumbo mean? Give me the answer to that. 50 big bucks for you at the Woodhouse Day Spa. 2 South Shore locations, 2 North Shore locations, also the Baton Rouge location by the Mall of Louisiana. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. 766-9480. 766-9480. New Orleans Council Vice President Helena Moreno seeks an update on the NOPD's task force after the 60-day deadline passed. The mayor setting up this violent crime reduction task force said there'll be 60 days, 2 months to identify strategies, goals, and trends. The whole 9 yards. Helena Moreno, vice president of the city council, wants to know what those strategies, goals, and trends are because that 60-day deadline has passed. Okay, you came up with the idea of the Violent Crime Reduction Task Force. Who could be against that? In 2 months, that Violent Crime Reduction Task Force will identify strategies to reduce violent crime, the goals that these strategies would achieve, and the violent crime trends that obviously lead to violent crime. The 60 days has passed. What are the strategies, goals, and trends? That's what Helena Moreno is looking for. Now, holding people accountable in elected positions in New Orleans and Louisiana is key, is vital. I applaud Helena Moreno. A public official wants to talk the talk. The mayor's talking about writing a book. You want to talk the talk, walk the walk. You said 60 days. You know, it's easy to say we want a violent crime reduction task force. We have a violent crime problem. And it's easy to say in 60 days we'll identify strategies, goals, and trends. And I think people appreciate that. But it's all talk. What are those strategies, goals, and trends? No, Helena Moreno, a righteous letter written to find out these key things when this 60-day deadline is passed. Okay, you talked about it. It's more than 60 days. She wants an answer by today. It'll be interesting to see. I'm doubtful that she'll receive an answer by today. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480 on a wide open Wednesday. 766-9480. How do you think 80+% of the first batch of recall signature sheets were valid? Over 80%. Pretty much falling in line with national trends. 15, 18% are invalidated just about in any recall. And how do you explain the second batch? Around 40,000, where 99% were immediately disqualified, invalid. Tomorrow, Dr. Sandra Wilson, the Registrar of Voters in Orleans Parish, will hold a press conference and explain that and hopefully a lot more. Hopefully a lot more. And not just, it was a tedious process counting the signatures. We have to do it twice. Yeah, I guess so. You have to double check. You got to be accurate. We understand that simple concept. But sort of incidental from this recall and the signature counting, why were the voter rolls not up to date? Is there any update of voter rolls? Now, I'm not trying to cut Dr. Sandra Wilson any slack. Obviously, if we were a growing city with lots of folks moving here, it's America. Most folks, they move to an area, they register to vote in that area. They want to voice their opinion via the voting booth. You know, an American right. Part of our life in America, the freedom to vote, the freedom of choice. So if we were like in Austin and Nashville, Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, where tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of folks annually move to these cities, just dynamic growth, insane growth. Austin and Nashville have tens of thousands of people moving in annually. Houston, Atlanta, Dallas, north of 100,000 a year moving to those cities. 100,000 like a new Kenner every year. It's insane. There, the registrar of voters or whatever the position is called in those cities, they have no choice. People come in. They fill out the forms. They expect to be on the docket, eligible to vote, with whatever the time period is of having to be a resident of that city, that municipality. The opposite, people leaving, I just don't think there are a lot of folks that are like, yeah, I moved out of Orleans Parish. I moved out of the state of Louisiana. And when it's voting time, I drive back in. I fly back into New Orleans to vote. I just don't see that. So I get it that there's no sense of urgency to update that. Unless there's a recall effort and you need an accurate number of valid registered voters in Orleans Parish. So, yeah, why has Dr. Sandra Wilson not updated the voter rolls in New Orleans? And there are some folks that have been interviewed on media outlets that my grandmother is still registered at my house. She still gets letters and envelopes. She's still actively registered. She died 20 years ago, literally 20 years ago. Like before Dr. Sandra Wilson, who in either 06 or 07, it's 07 at the latest, was appointed registrar of voters by the New Orleans City Council. It's like a Supreme Court justice gig. It is a lifetime position. So she's been at it for 15 years, 16 years, 17 years. How has she not updated the voter rolls where grandma, who died 2 decades ago, 20 years ago, still registered to vote? So no, hopefully tomorrow the media does its job. That's a key question. It's not just counting the signatures. Why were 40,000 signatures disqualified? It has to be something simple and basic. Like the first batch required just the year of your birth. The second batch apparently required the month, the day, and the year of your birth. I think it's got to be something overt and blatant and obvious like that, where just boom, boom, boom. Let's just focus on that, guys. And discredited, disqualified, invalid, boom, 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 boom. Easy to do. Supposedly 67,000 signatures turned in. 67,000. More than 20,000 that were needed to kick in a recall election. But of the 67,000, only 27,000 plus were valid. Nearly 40,000 were invalid. More disqualified than qualified. Over $1 million spent on this failed recall. Only 27,000 valid signatures. At least 18,000 short of the 45, and at least 23,000 shy of the 49,000 signature total. No, just a major blunder by Eileen Carter and Belden Batiste. I think Joe Raspanti said it best. Their heart was in the right place. But you need efficient, effective people that can get this done. And you had that multimillionaire on St. Charles Avenue, Farrell guy, that donated to LaToya Cantrell's campaign and then gave over $1 million to recall her to that effort. Belden Batiste, Eileen Carter, both receiving money for, quote, working for 6 months during that recall effort. But boy, what a blunder when you turn in 40,000 plus signatures and 39,000, 99% of them are disqualified. No, just it's like a firework, this recall. Light fuse, get away. I remember the big chain of fireworks. You wouldn't separate the firecrackers, the black cats. And it'd be like 150, 200, like a brick. You'd light the one fuse and bop, 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 they'd all just blow up, and then you've got a big mess of paper you have to clean up in the street. But inevitably, there'd be somewhere the fuse burned down and the firecracker didn't go off. We would break those in half, twist them until they broke in half, put them on the pavement, knock out a little gunpowder, and light it, and it would spark and fizzle around, maybe even spin a little bit. We called that a shoo-shoo, like a firework that didn't go off, that you broke open and lit the gunpowder so you'd get something out of it. That's what this recall effort was. Light fuse, get away. You're expecting like an M80. Watch out, it could take your fingers off. And instead, it was just a shoo-shoo. No explosion. Just a lot of sparks and fizzle and spinning, and no explosion. A faulty firework, a faulty recall effort. There's no other way to put it. Hart was in the right direction, and organized with pop-ups and, trying to get signatures, but, also a major flaw in the recall. Maybe trying to take the easy way out, go where you're going to get signatures, not where you're not. Maybe you have to make a bigger or better effort in the areas where you're struggling to get signatures. 76% of those that signed were white. 15%, a pathetic 15% that were black folks. Now, let's be honest. Black or white, Republican or Democrat, it's hard to find people that think the mayor's doing a good job, that she's competent, that she's under federal investigation, the Pontalba, these junkets. It's just insane. Where's the job creation? Where's the leadership? So I think it's very difficult to find any significant percentage of voters, black, white, Republican, or Democrat, that'll say, really proud of the mayor, real leadership skills. She's doing a great job as mayor, a very good job. It's just hard to find those people. So that, I think, is pretty obvious. But some white people are racist. There's just no doubt about it. There's no way around that. I experience it myself. I hear what they say. I see what they do over and over again, repeatedly. Still hearing the N-bomb drop, stuff like that. Think black folks are inferior to white folks, whatever. So there's a percentage of white folks that sign that petition, that recall petition, strictly because the mayor's black. I'm not in denial about that. But I think you got to be in denial to think the majority of white folks, the 76% of the total signees were white, that the majority of that 76% are racist. I think that is illogical and just an excuse and an easy angle. But I definitely think there's a large percentage, like a countable percentage, not anywhere near a majority, but it might be double digits, of white folks that signed it strictly because the mayor's black. But when only 15% of black residents compared to 76% of white, and I think you can also put in Democrat instead of Republican, that kicks into play more than race. But when only 15%, 1 in 7 black residents sign, there's clearly, it's an obvious, overt form of racism where black folks refuse to be critical or sign a recall petition of a black elected official. Yeah, I think she's incompetent. Yeah, I don't think she's any good, but she's black, and I'm not going to sign that because I'm black. And that's a problem. I've heard it before from black acquaintances, even black friends, where like in the barber shop, there's a lot of criticism of black elected officials and so-called black leaders and black, celebrity types. There's a lot of criticism. And then there's this attitude like, hey, Bill, why are you saying this criticism outside the barber shop? And I use that term loosely, outside of the black community in front of white people. That's a no-no. We can say it amongst ourselves, but you don't want to say it in front of white people. And that's just sort of pathetic, especially in 2023. It's not only being dishonest, it being realistic, being truthful, being critical of black folks that deserve the criticism isn't something that's necessary. It is required by black people to do publicly. And this secret wink, wink, like, keep it within us. It's them, us, is just nauseating. And it is why New Orleans is broken and why Louisiana is broken. I've been saying this for years, decades, this clinging to Republican and Democrat, clinging to white and black. It is so regressive and is why we suffer in this state. Statewide, Republicans, the wacky right looks at New Orleans, the dysfunction. It's because it's liberal, it's Democrats, it's blacks. That's why that city's running to the ground. And then you go into inner city New Orleans, a lot of black Democrat liberals, they think conservative and Republican means racist, like it's a code word for racist. It's mind-blowing. Just these equals and opposites. I often say it about LaToya Cantrell and AG Jeff Landry. LaToya Cantrell's a loony liberal, not a Democrat or liberal. And Jeff Landry's a wacky right-winger, not a conservative or Republican. And those two go by the exact same political playbook. Divide and try to conquer. Divisiveness, us versus them. Racist undertones at the least, if not overt at the worst. And they live by this playbook. They both subscribe to the exact same playbook, 110%. The only difference, political ideology, the opposite. But nothing else. The playbook is 100% the same. We're going to knock out a quick break. When we return, I'm going to have a few minutes for you to call in and answer one of these $50 Woodhouse Day Spot trivia questions. If we don't get the answers in the next few minutes, I'm going to give the answers out because these questions are holdovers from last week. We figured out or got an answer to the United States' costliest natural disaster. What's the United States' costliest man-made disaster? I'll give you a hint. It's local, like Katrina, like the costliest natural one. What's the costliest man-made? It's local. What did the Treaty of Paris do in 1763? New Orleans was the major part of the Treaty of Paris. What did it do? 260 years ago. There's a few locations. These snacks or treats can be found in grocery stores and convenience stores. They have their own little display case in convenience stores. When they have some kind of special or giveaway, there's a long drive-through line. They don't advertise. You won't see a TV or radio commercial, but what they do, their marketing guru nationwide is a former salesperson selling radio and TV advertising. They bring their product in the morning, boxes of their product, to TV and radio stations so the on-air people will mention the product. That's their marketing. Give away product to radio and TV stations so the on-air personalities will mention it. It's a 1937 recipe, this sweet treat. A North Carolina company with a red and green colored logo sells the treat. Yeah, and the drive-through lines can be long when they have a giveaway or some special. Rouse's Market's phone line, 766-9480. What's that New Orleans recipe from 1937, this sweet treat? Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480 to participate. 766-9480. A Tennessee native, a former governor of Florida, a presidential candidate, and a New Orleans hero. We erected a statue of him. That statue sits in an area named after him. There was a brewery named after him. There's a street in the Garden District named after him. Zulu goes down that street when they parade. Boy, enough. Who was that person? I'll answer those 4 questions on air in the next 15 minutes. If you don't, $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate up for grabs. Rouse's Markets phone lines to participate, 504-766-9480. 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480. And I got some questions from this week. How did New Orleans, the city of New Orleans, get its name? 766-9480. A couple of Batman actors were also King of Bacchus. One we got, Michael Keaton. Who's the other actor? King of Bacchus, Batman. The meaning of the word gumbo. 766-9480. 766-9480. Speaking of gumbo, why aren't you at Katie's right now? Why aren't you at Katie's in Mid-City, the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant? USA Today has a top 10 for tourists, visitors to the city of New Orleans, must-go-to restaurants. Katie's in Mid-City's on that list. You folks out in River Ridge, Elmwood, Old Jefferson, Harahan, the Katie's of Harahan, Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue. And don't forget about Francesca Deli and Pizzeria in Lakeview. 15 specialty sandwiches to choose from, or build your own. A full-blown deli and some of the best pizza in New Orleans, and that's just a simple fact, not an opinion. Too many folks with that opinion makes it a fact, right? Francesca Deli on Harrison Avenue in between Canal Boulevard and West End in the old Charlie's Deli location. Bienvenue, bringing a little Mid-City Katie's flavor to that curve in Hickory Avenue in Harahan. Yeah, and why aren't you at Katie's right now in Mid-City?
Hey, y'all, it's Junket Cantrell, Mayor, City of New Orleans. We've decided to hold a contest where you can decide where I go next on my taxpayer finance vacation. I was thinking about Acapulco, but that's in the Western Hemisphere, and we can do a lot better than that. Think Europe, Asia, maybe even the Middle East. You know, if it's safe. You don't want old Junket Cantrell getting hurt. It's all about my vacation, having fun and spending the city's money on my entertainment. I'll be flying first class, of course, and I'll be bringing some administrative flunkies with me. It should only cost the city around $30,000, maybe $40,000. Help me pick my next city finance vacation. Go online, Cantrell Junket at cityofno.gov. and have a fleeced day.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, hey, what can I do to give you a hand? He said, well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place. So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Hi, everyone. It's Tommy Wrong for AsbestosMoneyGrab.com. This is not, I repeat, not for folks with real asbestos problems. But if you're like me and were maybe taking a shop class in high school where you maybe breathed in some brake dust and you know for certain you're fine, but you're the type of person that takes advantage of these types of situations, get tested, lawyer up, and steal some money like me. Go to I'm not really hurt at all, but like exploiting the system for free cash.com.
At Helm Paint, we go the extra mile with free delivery anywhere in the metro area. In the middle of a job and short on paint? Call us and we'll come to you.
Short on time? Call in your order and pick it up in the drive-thru at our Earhart Boulevard location.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Come on down to New Orleans' own Bourbon Street, the toilet of the Crescent City. Literally. Need to urinate? Pee right on one of the historic buildings. Need to vomit? It's okay. Throw up right in the street. Bourbon Street. Prostitution, drugs, strip joints, daiquiri shops, and trinket stores. The toilet of the Crescent City. Come on down. It's Bourbon Street.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa, and now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, WoodhouseSpas.com.
This is what Drew Brees thinks about Super Discount Store in Chalmette. Actually, Brees doesn't think at all about Super Discount Store, but they do have the lowest prices allowed by Louisiana law for beer, alcohol, and wine. Super Discount Store in Chalmette. Super Discount Store!
Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a wide open Wednesday. Let's go to the Rouse's Markets phone lines, 504-766-9480, 504-766-9480. Ricky joins us up in Trey country. Hey, Woodhouse Day Spa country now. He's in Mandeville. How you doing, Ricky?
Can't complain, and you?
Doing well, man. Thanks for calling.
I'm taking a guess on the biggest man-made disaster. I'm going to say the BP oil spill.
The Deepwater Horizon, the Macondo well, that?
Correct. Yes.
$65 billion is the guesstimate. You are correct.
Yeah, you right. Ding, ding, ding. What do we have for her, Johnny?
You remember the Valdez spill?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
11 million gallons. The Macondo well, 210 million gallons.
insane.
It's just insane that thing was just flowing. You remember they were like, the Coast Guard originally was like in BP, 3,000 to 5,000 barrels a day. It's like, no, that's not, or 3,000 to 5,000 gallons a day. That would be like a trickle. We probably have that right now on some wells that leak.
Exactly.
210 million gallons, maybe the worst oil spill ever, the world's largest spill, some people say.
Probably so.
No, I think we're still suffering from that. I know marine life is. I remember a year or two afterwards, I'm on the Pensacola beach and I've got tar balls, and to get oil off your feet, you use oil. I was using olive oil and a paper towel to remove the tar balls off the bottom of my feet in Pensacola.
Covered the entire coast. Yeah, it was horrible.
Horrible, Ricky. Horrible. That's where, hardcore right wingers like, let's deregulate. And, the loony left's like, regulations. We saw that very crystal clear where Cheney under Bush, BP doesn't want a disaster any worse than we do. So he deregulated. And then Barack Obama overreacts and bans offshore drilling for a while, where if you just follow the rules, it's no problem. It's just like the extremes there instead of, common sense regulation. Regulations are like a stop sign or a traffic light. You don't want to have the intersection just open where there's accidents, but having a stop sign and a traffic light every corner would be prohibitive to drive. So
from one extreme to the other,
I swear, Ricky, it's a nightmare. And the hardcore of each side clings to that stuff instead of being reasonable and commonsensical. It's just, that's where, we saw both sides of it. And one thing that's interesting in Louisiana, I think, Ricky, liberals are pro-drilling and conservatives realize that man can influence the planet with our coastal erosion. But boy, around the rest of the country, a lot of the hardcore liberals are anti-drilling, and a lot of the hardcore right don't believe that man can influence the planet. But
it
whatever.
can be done right.
Whatever. Hey, you heading to Trey Yen soon or have been lately?
It's usually a Friday night deal.
Nice, man. You bring the family and go there?
It's a drop through every Friday night.
Nice. So they'll pick up and bring it home. I love the coronavirus, outdoor dining in a lot of restaurants that didn't exist in Metro New Orleans. And I love, to-go orders that didn't exist. Trey Yen always had to-go orders, but I love the curbside where you don't leave the vehicle. Yeah. I pull up in that little half circle. They walk it right out to the car, Nicole or one of the crew. I love it.
Yeah, they're on top of it.
They are. And those lunch specials are ridiculous, too. Hey, Ricky, excellent work. You are correct. Good job. Hang on, all right? That's Ricky in Mandeville getting the trivia question. Yeah, the Deepwater Horizon, the worst United States man-made disaster, $65 billion. And it's only going up because there's a lot of oil sitting on the bottom of the Gulf that gets stirred up every now and then. The dispersants, too, just a nightmare. A nightmare. We're eating stuff. We're swimming in it, being slightly affected by it. Good job. Hey, what did the Treaty of Paris do? 1763, Spain possession of Louisiana from France. We're a French colony for about 50 years. We're a Spanish colony, Spain, for like 40. And, it's like a third, 30% of our existence. We're a colonial French and Spanish entity. And that's how we started. The second 60, 70% of our existence, America. Very unique, very special. But the Treaty of Paris, France seceding, or I guess ceding, Louisiana to Spain in 1763, 260 years ago. In 1937, this New Orleans recipe became what item? Krispy Kreme donuts. Krispy Kreme donuts. A New Orleans recipe from 1937, the North Carolina company. Tennessee native, former governor of Florida, presidential candidate, New Orleans hero, Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson. Yeah, those trivia questions are from last week. I've got a few that we will fire out again tomorrow and give you a $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate. Ricky's going to go to the one in Mandeville now. I guess he would have been going to Slidell down the I-12, right off of I-10 and Gauze, about 60 seconds off that exit. Or maybe he would have gone to Metairie near North Kenner or Baton Rouge or the Canal Street Mid-City New Orleans location. But now there is a fifth area, Woodhouse Mandeville, opening last Tuesday. Yeah, you right. Hey, tomorrow, Ghassan Corban's going to join us around 4:20. The president of the Sewerage and Water Board. We'll talk about overbilling, $150 million of uncollected bills, $150 million in uncollected Sewerage and Water Board bills. Yeah, it goes both ways. What's that, Blue Boy? Folks getting overbilled by 10 grand or something? You're right. Utterly ridiculous, buddy. But equally as ridiculous, $150 million in unpaid bills? Wow. You're right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow, Thursday edition, 4 o'clock mañana.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 6 p.m.